After surviving a narcissistic relationship, you don't just carry wounds in your heart. You carry a deep distrust of your own feelings. You once trusted your instincts, and they seemed to betray you. You trusted the words, the care, the promises, and all of it turned out to be an act. So when someone new comes along, someone who seems kind and genuine, you don't feel peace. You feel fear. Fear that you're wrong again. Fear that you'll give yourself to the wrong person. Fear that your already exhausted heart won't survive another blow. The most painful part after narcissistic abuse isn't that they left. It's that they made you lose the ability to trust your own inner voice, as if your intuition had been damaged, as if your eyes could no longer see people clearly, as if anything good might be a trap. But there's something Carl Jung once said: where you are most wounded, there your soul is trying to show you what you need to see. The wound doesn't stay open to trap you in the past. It opens to lead you toward a greater truth. You never lost your ability to love or recognize love. You only lost the habit of sensing what is healthy. And that's exactly why there are signs. Very real, very subtle signs. Not of promises or sweet words, but of safe energy, telling you that this time is different. This time, you're standing before someone who doesn't activate your fear, doesn't resurrect old memories, and doesn't make you work for love. Someone who makes you relax without realizing it, who makes your heart feel lighter without effort, who gives you a peace you forgot you deserved. And when you notice these signs, you'll finally understand something. It's not that you lost the ability to trust others. You're simply learning how to trust yourself again. Why you lost trust in your own intuition. After escaping a narcissistic relationship, the part most damaged isn't the heart, it's your internal guidance system. You once knew how to feel correctly, but for a long time, the narcissist interfered with that entire system through ambiguity, contradictions, and emotional manipulation. One day, they loved you to the point of suffocation. The next day, they were cold like a stranger. One morning, they lifted you like a treasure. That same night, they made you believe you were the problem. When that chaos repeats long enough, your mind doesn't just get tired, it gets reprogrammed. Freud called this the introjection of the aggressor. You unconsciously bring the voice of the person who harmed you into your inner world, and you begin to doubt every genuine feeling you have. John Bowlby, the father of attachment theory, pointed out that when someone is repeatedly met with a cycle of affection and withdrawal, their attachment nervous system becomes deregulated, leaving them unable to distinguish what is safe from what is dangerous. This creates a powerful illusion. Everything pleasant feels suspicious. Everything unclear feels familiar. Research by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, author of The Body Keeps the Score, shows that when someone lives in prolonged gaslighting, the body records tension as a normal state. That's why when you meet a kind person, your body can't relax, not because something is wrong with them, but because safety itself confuses you. You've lived with the storm for so long that peace has become foreign. Through the Jungian lens, you didn't lose your intuition. Your intuition is lying beneath the dust of being manipulated, of having reality twisted, of being taught that your feelings were irrational. The narcissist didn't destroy you. They destroyed your trust in yourself. That's why when the right person appears, someone slow, clear, and kind, your heart doesn't bloom immediately. It trembles, it doubts, it asks, what if this is another illusion? But that trembling is not a sign that you're choosing wrong again. It's a sign that you're stepping out of the shadow of old patterns. Jung said, whatever is not made conscious will continue to appear as fate. And right now, you're learning to feel truth again. Not the distorted truth that once drained you, but the truth of a healthy connection. Sign 1. Your body relaxes, instead of tightening. One of the clearest signs that you're standing near the right person after surviving narcissistic abuse isn't found in words or promises. It's found in something people rarely talk about: your body. With a narcissist, you become accustomed to a subtle, constant tension. Your heart beats faster whenever their silence feels strange. Your stomach tightened when you saw them texting someone. your body walking on eggshells every time you entered a room they were in. You called it loving too much, but in reality, it was your body sounding alarms. Stomach pain, insomnia, shallow breathing, headaches, fatigue. None of these were random. They were the language of a nervous system permanently stuck in fight or flight. When you meet the right person, the first thing that changes is not a cinematic love story. It's the volume inside your body. You realize you no longer have to check your phone constantly. You don't rehearse conversations in your head in case they react badly. You sit beside them and suddenly notice your breath is deeper, your shoulders drop, your chest doesn't tighten when you talk about private things. Your body knows it's safer here. Dr. James Cohen, a psychologist at the University of Virginia, conducted a landmark study showing that when participants faced threatening stimuli, activity in brain regions tied to fear and stress dropped dramatically when they were holding the hand of someone they trusted. Our brain and body are programmed to relax around the right person. After narcissistic abuse, the tragic irony is that you became used to the opposite. You once slept poorly, ate poorly, breathed rapidly around them, and still thought maybe I just love them too much. In reality, your body was begging you to pay attention. When you meet a healthy person, this system begins to reverse. You spend time with them and go home feeling lighter, not drained. You can say, "I'm tired today. I want some time alone," without your stomach twisting in fear of silent punishment. Here's another important detail. With the right person, you don't have to prepare yourself the way you used to. With a narcissist, you used to stand in front of the mirror for a long time, not because you loved yourself, but because you feared that if you weren't pretty enough, fun enough, perfect enough, they would criticize you or look for someone else. With the right person, you may still want to look nice, but the core feeling is entirely different. You don't get dressed to keep them. You trust they will see you, not just your most polished version. Many people confuse strong chemistry with trauma bonding. Chemistry with a narcissist is often a mix of dopamine, excitement, and cortisol, stress. You think about them constantly. Your heart pounds. You feel jittery, sleepless, and unable to eat, and you call it deep love. In reality, it's an emotional addiction loop. With the right person, things may feel quiet at first because your body is no longer experiencing extreme highs and lows. But if you look closely, you'll notice something entirely different. You sleep better after talking to them. You don't replay conversations to decode hidden meanings. A healthy relationship stabilizes your nervous system. This is where awareness is crucial. You must learn to distinguish peace from emptiness. Peace is when your body relaxes, your mind stops attacking itself, and you have space to breathe and be yourself. The right person doesn't shut you down. They give you the safety to open up without fear of being crushed. The first sign that you've met the right person after narcissistic abuse is not that they make your emotions explode. It's that they finally let your body rest. Sign 2. They don't play ambiguous games. If the first sign shows up in your body, the second sign shows up in the rhythm of communication between you, clarity. After leaving a narcissistic relationship, you were so used to ambiguity that you started to believe being hard to read was part of love. You dealt with people who said one thing and did another, who made promises they never kept, who were intimate one day and disappeared for 3. That feeling of near-far, hot-cold, made you addicted to instability, and you mistook it for passion. But in reality, that's a manipulation pattern well documented in psychology. Dr. Helen Fisher, a neuroscientist who studies love, has shown that uncertainty in romantic situations activates dopamine more powerfully than any kind of clarity. When you don't know what they're thinking, dopamine rises. When they come back, dopamine explodes. That's why you clung to them even though you knew they were bad for you. You weren't addicted to the person. You were addicted to the dopamine roller coaster they created through deliberate ambiguity. Because of this, when you meet the right person, their clarity initially makes you confused. You're used to the dark, so light feels blinding. But the right person, the healthy person, will not make you guess. They say they'll call, they call. They say they want to see you, they make time. They say they like you, they show you through consistent actions. They don't disappear to create a sense of lack. They don't use silence to punish you. They don't leave you wondering where you stand in their heart. With the narcissist, you spent hours decoding messages that were only one sentence long. With the right person, you realize you don't need a team of analysts. You don't need to stay up until midnight just to see if they'll pop online again. The right person doesn't hand you false hope. They don't speak in double meanings. They understand that ambiguity is a subtle form of emotional violence, the kind you once endured and normalized. In Jung's lens, the narcissist's ambiguity belongs to the trickster archetype, the deceiver. The right person belongs to the king-queen archetype, a symbol of order, integrity, and stability. Many people, after leaving a narcissist, say that when they meet the right person, they don't feel the spark at first. But understand this, the initial spark with a narcissist is not love. It's an aggressive assault on your nervous system. Love bombing. The right person will not love bomb you. They approach slowly, steadily, sincerely. They don't build illusions. They build a foundation. A crucial detail, the right person does not make you wonder, did I do something wrong? Whenever there's a quiet moment. If they're busy, they tell you. If they need space, they let you know. Everything is clear, simple, and understandable. When the right person cares, you feel calm. When the narcissist cares, you feel anxious. The difference is this: the right person gives you certainty. The narcissist gives you addiction to instability. This clarity is the antidote to the years you spent living in psychological fog. It helps you regain trust in your intuition. When you no longer have to decode everything, you can finally hear your own inner voice again. Sign 3. They respect your boundaries. One of the most subtle yet crucial signs you've met the right person after narcissistic abuse is how they respond to your boundaries. After years in an environment where every limit you tried to set was mocked, twisted, or treated like a crime, you became used to shrinking yourself. When you said, "I'm tired," they called you weak. When you said, "This hurts me," they called you too sensitive. When you asked for space, they used it as proof that you didn't love them enough. Over time, you didn't just lose your natural boundaries. You lost the belief that you even had the right to have boundaries. That's why when the right person enters your life, the first thing that confuses you isn't their affection. It's how they respond to the clumsy little boundaries you're trying to put in place. You don't say it perfectly, but they still get it. Your voice trembles as you say, "I need time," and they don't disappear, don't sulk, don't attack. They simply respond with calm. "Okay, whenever you're ready, I'm here." That's the moment you understand that boundaries are not war. Boundaries are simply the truth about you, and the right person will meet that truth with kindness. Dr. Terence Real, a renowned relationship therapist, points out that in healthy relationships, boundaries are not fences to block people out, but guideposts that help two individuals understand each other more deeply. When you say, "I don't like being teased that way," they stop. When you say, "I need more time before being more intimate," they don't treat it as rejection. When you say, "I'm not ready to talk about my past yet," they don't force you to open up. Their presence doesn't shrink you. It creates space for you to breathe. The most beautiful part is this: they respect your boundaries, even when you don't fully know how to respect yourself yet. When you say no awkwardly, they don't punish you for stumbling. When you change your mind because you're still used to people-pleasing, they don't exploit that hesitation to push further. This is the biggest difference between the right person and the narcissist. The narcissist demands that you stretch yourself to accommodate them while they refuse to stretch at all for you. The right person is the opposite. They don't use your needs to judge your worth. They use your needs to understand you better. When someone respects your boundaries, they are silently saying, "You deserve to be safe. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be yourself." And it is precisely this respect that opens the door for healing the deepest places that narcissistic abuse once shattered. Sign 4. They help you grow, not shrink. One of the cruelest things a narcissist ever did to you wasn't just the direct insults, but the way they made you slowly shrink yourself bit by bit. They didn't say outright, "You're incompetent," but they made you doubt your abilities through subtle contempt-laced comments. They didn't tell you not to grow, but they made you afraid of new challenges. They didn't force you to abandon your dreams, but they made those dreams feel unrealistic or naive. And you, out of love, out of a desire to be validated, out of fear of being abandoned, started shrinking yourself. You slowly became a smaller, weaker, dimmer version of yourself. That's why when the right person enters your life, you feel the difference almost immediately. Not because they put you on a pedestal, but because they are not afraid of you expanding. The right person sees the strongest version of you and doesn't feel threatened at all. They don't see your growth as competition. They don't see your achievements as a risk of losing power. On the contrary, they feel proud to walk beside you. You talk about plans, and they listen with genuine delight. You want to try something new, and they don't hold you back. They even ask how they can help, and that gives you a kind of safety you may never have known before, the safety to become who you really are. Therapist Esther Perel says, "Love is the place where another person gives you room to expand yourself without having to give up the bond. And the right person gives you exactly that experience." What often surprises you is this: when you talk about the things you once feared saying out loud, your dreams, your interests, your talents, your ambitions, they don't mock you, don't compete with you, don't label it delusional. They say, "You can do it, I believe in you." The right person doesn't just accept your wounded parts. They also see the light in you that you never dared to believe you had. To them, you are not a project to fix, not a resource to extract from. You are seen as a whole human being with depth, potential, and your own path. The biggest difference is this: the narcissist loves the part of you that can serve them. The right person loves the part of you you're meant to become. The narcissist loves your small version. The right person loves the vast version sleeping inside you. Sign 5. You don't have to fight to be loved. After years in a narcissistic environment, you became used to a very unhealthy version of love. A love you always had to fight to keep. You had to fight to be noticed, fight to be heard, fight to be acknowledged, fight just to stay in that person's life. Every time they pulled their affection away, you worked twice as hard. Every time they were cold, you blamed yourself. Every time they exploded in anger, you apologized for things you never did wrong. You weren't fighting because your love was strong. You were fighting because you were terrified of losing someone who constantly made you feel not enough. And the heartbreaking part is that you came to believe that love always comes with exhaustion. To be loved, you must struggle. But when the right person appears, the most confusing thing is the absence of that battle. You don't have to chase. You don't have to worry that one day they'll vanish just because you didn't perform well enough. You don't have to keep score. You don't have to constantly ask yourself, did I do something wrong? Their love doesn't drain your energy. It brings you back to yourself. You can send a message without agonizing over what they're thinking. You can share your feelings without fearing ridicule. You can be honest about your fears, wounds, and limits without worrying they will be used as weapons against you. The right person makes you feel that your mere presence is enough. No need for performance, no need for perfection, no need to constantly prove your worth. Dr. Sue Johnson, founder of Emotionally Focused Therapy, says, "Real love is not a battlefield. It is emotional safety where the soul can rest." With the right person, you don't have to fight to be seen. You don't have to be perfect to be chosen. You are loved in your authenticity. You are respected in your vulnerability. You are received in your imperfection. What's special is that this feeling of not having to fight is not passivity. It's the sense that you and this person are standing on the same side. No one is trying to win. Both are trying to understand. No one is trying to hide. Both want to be more real. And the moment you realize you no longer have to fight is the moment you understand. Real love doesn't make you lose sleep in fear of being replaced. Real love doesn't turn you into a warrior. It brings you back to being human. From a Jungian perspective, this is the moment when the self within you, the clear, whole part, steps into the light without being crushed by someone else's shadow. Because healthy love doesn't activate your fear of abandonment. It activates your sense of belonging. You no longer feel you have to fight to be loved. Because this time you are not being loved on condition. You are being loved in your essence. And that is the clearest sign you've entered a relationship where your heart can rest, not guard itself. The journey home to yourself. When you look back at your entire journey, the years of manipulation, the sleepless nights asking yourself, what did I do wrong? The times you swallowed your pain just to hold on to someone who was never really staying, you begin to realize that what you were truly searching for was never an intense love, but the right love. A love where your body can breathe. A love where your heart can be itself. A love where your soul doesn't have to sacrifice its peace just to survive. The signs you've just recognized are not theories, and they are not poetic comfort. They are a call back home from your own self, the deepest, brightest, truest part within you, guiding you out of the darkness of narcissistic abuse and back toward real connection. The right person doesn't make you tremble out of fear of losing them. They make you peaceful because you know they are not here to take, but to build with you. The right person doesn't make you guess. They make you feel seen. The right person doesn't make you contract. They help you open. The right person doesn't drag you into chaos. They guide you back to the inner order you thought you had lost forever. And the most beautiful, the most moving part of all is this. You are not just learning how to recognize the right person. You are learning how to recognize yourself again. After everything you've been through, you are not hard to love. You simply no longer want to give your heart to places that don't deserve it. And that is not defensiveness. That is the wisdom of the soul. This journey doesn't end when you meet the right person. It ends when you realize you deserve the right love. And the moment you believe that, a brand new chapter opens. A chapter of growth, a chapter of peace, a chapter of a love that doesn't break you but makes you rise. If you're on the path of healing, rediscovering yourself, or learning how to recognize healthy love after narcissistic trauma, know that you are not alone and that you deserve a love where your soul can finally rest. This is only the beginning. The road ahead will be even more beautiful because this time you walk with open eyes, with an awakened heart, and with a soul that has found itself again. Thank you for staying with me till this point. Do well to show your support by subscribing and sharing this channel for more self-awakening and deep psychological content.